Hey, Coach, can you hear me okay?
I got you, Caleb.
Great, we'll go ahead and get started with questions.
Hi, Sean. Adam Benini. Can you hear me?
Hi, Adam.
Hi. Just kind of reflecting on last night, we talked about this to an extent. We talked about physicality at the point of attack. It's kind of been a trend coming out of a number of games this year. I'm wondering, just after you had a chance to watch that again and trying to get that corrected to some extent, is that technique and fundamental based, or is it more kind of the DNA of your football team right now and mentality based?
Are you on, Adam, are you on offense, defense, both? Just so I know what.
I'm specifically referring to defense, but I suppose it applies to both the offensive and defensive lines.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll take them one at a time. Defensively, they had turn around and hand the ball 45 times, give or take. And, one run made a big impact, right? One run is too many, 64-yarder, 63-yarder. You take that run away, which you really can't, but you take it away just to look at things in perspective. And you say, hey, at 3.5 yards per carry through 44 other runs. And so that's, you can live with that. It's the big run that ends up skewing things. And so that run can't happen. And so I think there was some good to what we did there too. And I think it's important we don't discount that piece of it as we look at the overall effort up front there and defensively. And then, offensively, I think there were some times we had some yards to be had there in the run game, and we didn't execute with everyone being on the same page with the different pieces that have to execute together. The backs and the line working together and everything. So I think that's an important part for us moving forward, that we get that corrected. Then there's some where we didn't establish the line of scrimmage to give our backs a chance. So again, it's they got to work hand in hand.
I guess my follow then would be, do you feel your team has the physicality necessary to win these types of games at this time of year against that type of opponent?
Well, we're going to have to, and I do. I have confidence in the guys, and we're going to have to, because the weather, especially around here, may not change all that much, and we could see it again. And that's where it's got to come into play. You've got to be a physical team, whether you throw it or pass it, or whether you throw it or run it. There's a physical part of the game that has to be there.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Hi, Sean. It's Jay with the Buffalo News. Philosophically speaking, right now, are you and Brian on the same page in what you want this offense to be?
Yeah, I think we are. Those are the things you work through. You work through your challenges. Challenges are different every year, and those are things we're working through to get fixed and make sure we are on the same page. And I believe we are, and we've got to go out there and execute at a higher level so we can be more consistent on offense in that case.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean. One of the things that came out of yesterday's game, obviously with the wind conditions, Josh Allen as a runner, I'm interested as he's evolved over the seasons. I mean, early on in his career, he ran a lot, and it's kind of, I don't know if it's tapered off, but it's definitely less now than it was then. Do you go into games with any different mentality and not trying to put him in danger any more now than you would have earlier in his career? Or does he still have kind of free reign to go out there and try to kind of make plays with his legs?
Yeah, I think I think you evolve over time, right? In terms of how much you want to use it, when you want to use it. And so, we continue to try and find that sweet spot, and it's really, we talk about it big picture wise, but then at the end of the day, it's the offensive game plan and what those guys want to do there.
Mm-hmm. You were asked yesterday about, making changes, and there was a lot of things you got into yesterday, but you said at the end that you want to go back and look at the tape, and you thought you had a pretty good idea of how to, make changes moving forward. With a time to go back and look at the film, is there anything, specific that you took away that, tangible that you want to do moving forward?
Well, I just think on both sides of the ball and special teams, you always want to have that physical mindset, because that's what the game is. That's what it presents to you. And it's hard to get away from that and expect to play good football, right? So I think that's big, and playing good complementary football is big, as I alluded to after the game. We had opportunities, and then red zone. When we had those opportunities, what did we do with them? And so there was some opportunities to be had there, and that's a good football team. When you look at it, we get points on the board maybe on the second to last drive, and then we come back and maybe we kick a field goal at the end. So there's opportunities there, right, to win that game against a good football team. And listen, we didn't play or coach up to our ability, and that's what we have to continue to work through.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi, Sean. I know you're in a tough spot here with this with the short week and one less day of practice. And you were talking last night a little bit about it's tough to turn things around at this stage of the season in terms of the physicality. Being having the kind of identity that you want to have. Do you still consider, making changes to any kind of practice routine, even though it's a shorter week? And, do you pay attention to stuff that happens throughout the league? With it looked like Mike Tomlin put those guys in pads last week with Steelers, and they responded pretty well, even though they kind of needed some luck at the end to win. Do you consider anything like that in a week like this, or at the time of the season, at this time of season at all?
Yes, absolutely, Nick. We look at everything, consider everything. We have a certain practice routine, but don't just execute that just based on because it's what we've always done. So I always want to try and meet the team where the team's needs are, and so we'll try and do that again this week.
What do you anticipate in practice? Do you think you'll put them in pads this week?
Yeah, I'd just rather not get into it. With all due respect, Nick, to your question, I'd just rather go through that with the team first, and so they hear that from me first in terms of what we want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Sean, John Morrow.
Hey, John.
After the Jacksonville loss, you were very insistent in saying, good teams make adjustments. When you were asked if this team was in crisis, it's you've gone 2-2 since, and you also said, good teams hold together, and it's all a matter of, good teams sticking together, through the course of a season. What concerns you have 4 weeks and 2 losses later about in regards to that?
In terms of
just your concerns about this team not having, still having experiencing these inconsistencies and an inability to string wins together, through the course of a season when you really need it. And when when players have talked about, this is the time when teams need to start building, at crunch time.
Yeah, listen, I think there's definitely still work to be done with that, and we've got to execute at a higher level to be more consistent. And yet through the game yesterday against a good team that's won 6 in a row, I believe, now 7, we were right there with opportunities to win the game. So we definitely have to continue to make adjustments and improve some of the things that we're doing. But the season's still, still out there for us right now, and we've got a big test, big challenge this week going down to Tampa.
Just how do you brace against there seems to be some negativity out there. I'm not sure if I can't talk about what's inside the locker room, but there's a lot of negativity outside the locker room following that game. How do you guard your team against getting into the negative vibe that might be out there?
Yeah, that's a real part of the noise, right? And whether it's really good or in this case, not so good, and we can't control that. And we've got to insulate ourselves and get ourselves ready to go to play a good football team and improve on our performance from the other night, from last night.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Hey, Sean. When Sal asked you yesterday about making the 2 returners inactive yesterday, you kind of alluded to needing to have trust in the guys you put back there. What do those players need to do to earn that trust back so that you can make those guys active?
Yeah, it was more when you look at the weather the way it was, and you look at what happened to the Patriots, and they turned the ball over on their punt return team. I wanted to make sure I had a guy back there that was a veteran returner, and Micah that he's fielded some punts over the course of his career, and catching it was a small. was a big challenge and in some cases a small miracle just for their side or our side, just because of the wind going both ways. And so, I just thought that was a critical piece of the game going into it. Have confidence in Speedy and Isaiah, and expect them when called upon to do the job and do it at a high level.
Do you anticipate them potentially being active next week, seeing how the practice goes? What goes into kind of making that decision for next week?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see this week on the game plan and what we feel like, as always, is best for the team.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean, real quick. Sorry, it's Jay again. I forgot to ask earlier. Was John Feliciano close? Was he an option at all yesterday? Is there any kind of update on where he is?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this week looks like. He's still on IR at this point, so we'll just see where it goes.
Okay, and then just coming out of the game, do you know of anything injury-wise that cropped up?
No, nothing major that I can think of right now. Still haven't really met fully with our training staff yet, though.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Yes, good afternoon, Coach McDermott, George Radney, Challenger Community News.
Hi, George. How you doing?
Pretty good. And quick question for you. On Tuesday, at the beginning of the game, when you chose to defer, I'm just wondering, how come with your choice that you didn't choose to go toward the tunnel and where the players come out of that tunnel, rather than ending up in the fourth quarter having to go into the wind, where if vice versa, you could have had a better opportunity of kicking 2 field goals in that fourth quarter and actually winning the game, going toward that tunnel into the field.
Yeah, there's a lot of options you have there, right, at your disposal. If you win the coin toss, so you can win the coin toss and defer like we did and go with the wind, go 3 and out like we did, George, there, and get the ball to our offense around midfield. And so we felt good about that. And then the ensuing drive after that was, I think, on the plus side of the 50 as well. So 2 scoring opportunities there for us early in the game, and so you give some of that up in the second half. If you take the ball in the first half, obviously you get the choice for the direction in the fourth quarter with the win there. So it's what do you want, and so we felt like we've had success going out there on defense, creating a 3 and out, getting the ball in good field position, which we did in a complimentary way. We failed to get points out of it both times and actually turned it over on the second one.
Right, because I noticed that with the New England kicker in the press conference last night, he mentioned that he told the coach, "No way, I can't kick anything going in that direction. So you're gonna have to go for it or whatever, make some other type of move." So I thought that was, and the same thing in the Indianapolis game. The Bills ended up going toward that bad end of the field in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think if you look at the statistics, I think most people defer and try and take the wind early in the game to get momentum. And again, we had a chance to do that. And obviously we failed to accomplish that in terms of getting points on the board there with the win. And that was a big part of the game. And, they score going against the wind on a run where they didn't have to throw it. And then we failed to put, other than the muff punt return by them, we failed to really drive the ball into the wind early in the game right there. Or excuse me, with the win. I'm sorry, with the win.
With the win, right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time, Coach, and good luck this week.
Yeah, thanks.
Coach, Mookie Hawkins, World Sports Cincinnati. How's it going?
Good, Mookie. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Yesterday, just give us your overall assessment. I know you watched film. I know you probably didn't like what you saw out of the tape, but just give your overall assessments on yesterday's game.
Well, Mookie, again, without being repetitive, I'm probably going to be repetitive, but I just felt like we were inconsistent. We had opportunities to win the game, and as I mentioned after the game, you win the field position battle the way we did, and that's significant of a way. The 40-yard line, basically, average starting field position to their 22, 23-yard line. I mean, that's significant. And then 4 opportunities in the red zone. But there's other things that go into it other than just those 2. So, it's a team game, and we got to play better overall as a team.
Absolutely. And Coach, from from 20 to 20, you're one of the best in the league. But when it comes to the red zone, when the field gets short, this high-powered offense seems to struggle. I mean, what goes into that inside the red zone where you're getting those struggles as a late coach?
Yeah, I just feel like we're going backwards at times right now, and you know, I think we got to find more of a rhythm, as I mentioned last night, in the red zone, and I expect that Brian and his staff will do that going forward.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Is that it?
Jen, are you there? Sorry, Coach. I think that's it for today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me okay?
Yep, gotcha.
Great. We'll go ahead and get started with questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start with Matt.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Matt.
You know, Sean talked a little bit about this a little while ago, and you know, when things don't go well offensively, you start searching for answers, and you know, are people on the same page? How would you describe where you guys are collectively as a group, you, Sean, your coaching staff, in terms of, you know, getting a plan together and getting on the same page offensively?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing week to week. Come in here after the game, watch what we can correct it with the players, move on to the next week. You know, each game presents its unique challenges. Yesterday, there was, I'd say, a fair amount of them. You know, we had some good plays in there, and then obviously we had, you know, those drives there in the red zone that, you know, we stalled a little bit on. It was some, you know, whether it was a false start that moves us back to 3rd and 14, and then we're 4th and 14, which is, you know, tough going into the win as it is, or, you know, we get down there and we have a sack on the 6-yard line. Those are things that always set you back, regardless of where you're playing, when you're playing, the wind, sun, it doesn't really matter. So, you know, each week we just try to put together the best plan we can and then go out there and execute. And that's what our goal will always be.
And then with Josh, you know, the weather conditions being what they were, he seemed to really throw it pretty well into the wind, even when you guys were going in that direction. How do you balance as a play caller, you know, all of his abilities, whether it be turning him loose into the wind, throwing the ball, or, you know, using him as a runner, which can be dangerous at times, but, you know, maybe a game like that, you can lean on him as a runner a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, we tried a variety of run schemes that game. Zone reads, counter reads, inside zone, outside zone, gap schemes, RPOs. You know, that was an area we didn't get going too well. You know, I think we were, you know, fairly balanced with the run game and the pass game on 1st and 2nd down, but much more production in the pass game. But still, there's, you know, when you're talking about conditions like that in the wind, it's not just the passer, it's the, you know, it's the catchers. There's a lot of things that go into it. You know, we left some plays out there, certainly. And that starts with me. So we'll try to get it corrected this week against Tampa.
Thanks, Brian.
You got it.
Coach Dave and Mookie Hawk as well for Sports Today. How's it going today, sir?
Hey, Mook. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm down here waiting on you guys to come. You know, it's a little sunny where I'm at, so you know I'm waiting on you guys to get down.
It looks it.
Yeah, I'm hosting the Nationals, the Youth Nationals down here in Tampa. But Coach, that last possession on 3rd down, it looked like New England was playing zero coverage. We don't go to Steph Diggs across the middle.
It was on the 4th down play.
That was a fourth. On 4th was Beasley. Diggs was on third down, zero coverage. Do we have something to go to our go-to guys in that moment right there?
Yeah, well, on the third down, on the fourth down play, it was zero coverage, and I'd say Brian did a really good job. We ran a double post concept, and Beasley undercut Brian, and Josh was put it where he wanted to put it to Gabe, and Brian fell off and tipped it off. So, look, those are critical plays. Those are tough situations to face, whether it's 3rd and 14, 4th and 14. We're always going to try to do what we think is best. And, it was a double post there on 4th and 14, and credit New England. They made a great play on that play.
Now, Coach, is it more than what you guys not doing, or is it more than what defenses are doing inside the red zone against you guys that can contribute to, the struggles of the late?
Yeah. I mean, look, we've had games that we've been pretty good. We've had games that we've struggled. And look, I think you always give credit to the opposition and to the guys that you're going against. They did some good things down there. Are there certain plays that we definitely could have executed better? Absolutely. Or better play calls, whatever that may be. But, credit New England. They did a good job down there, and, they did better than we did.
Good luck this week. See you soon, Coach.
Hey, Brian, Josh Reed.
Hey, Josh.
Thanks. Hey, how are you? Just thanks for taking a little bit of time here.
You got it.
Did you get a chance to find out the Steph Diggs, that the long pass there that kind of floated over him, and it looked like he was having trouble tracking it? We were not going to get a chance to hear from Steph, but was that a wind? Did the wind take it on him a little bit there?
Yeah, I'm sure it. Look, that was, you guys were there. You saw it. I mean, that was a good throw, but those are hard to track too. And he's got exceptional ball skills. So whether it tailed off the last minute or moved, those you take all into account. He ran a great route, and that was it was a great throw. But again, there's so many factors that go into that, with the wind carrying it or moving, and that was a tough play.
When you go back and have looked at the film now, Matt brought this up a little bit ago, Josh's ability to even throw the ball into the wind. He didn't look like he was struggling a whole lot, getting it through, cutting it through the wind when he was going against it. You guys continued to kind of stick to the run, though, especially going against the wind. When you look back now, is there any thought that maybe you stuck with that a little too much and maybe should have opened it up at all to Josh?
Yeah, look, Josh, we're trying to establish the line of scrimmage and get some things in the running game going along with the pass game going. Look, it wasn't an ideal day. If we would have thrown it 50 times and it didn't turn out right, then that, it's all hindsight. Obviously there's always play calls that you wish you had back. But again, establishing the line of scrimmage and being physical and, being able to move the ball in both the run and the pass, that's important as the year goes on.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time as always.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, Mike Catalana.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, the touchdown to Gabe Davis. From the outside, it looked like just an example of Josh makes the read, moves the coverage a little bit. Gabe runs his route, quick decision. So the thinking is, from the outside, how difficult is it, since that works so well, to get back into a circumstance like that again? Not to call it maybe the exact play, but it works in the red zone. All those things come together just like you want. So a fan might just say, well, why don't you do that again? Like, how difficult is it to get back in that spot again?
Yeah, look, it's hard down there as it is with ideal conditions. The windows are tighter, then you add elements to the game. And again, it was a good play. We ran a similar play. The next time we were down there, when we hit the field goal, I think it was on a second down after the first down run of 3. Gabe was on the left, and we just took a little bit, thought we put it on and just moved just a little bit. Had a chance on that one too. Those are timing throws, and Josh did a good job of reading it. And Gabe's a bigger body guy that we trust a lot with good hands, and someone we try to use as often as we can down there.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Oh, there we go. Good afternoon, Coach. How you doing today?
Hey, George. How are you?
All righty. I was just looking at some of the film earlier today. it looks like you had some good play calls, especially at the goal line near about the 6-yard line with Zach Moss when you called the play for Zach, and it looked like he just missed the hole. If he would have went to the instead of going to the right and going to the left, he could have walked right into the end zone. And it just looked like a matter of these guys not feeling that because maybe they haven't had enough touches of how this line blocks and where the holes are. And I think Devin Singletary too around midfield missed one that looked like he could have went through that hole if he would have went to the right instead of the left. That could have been probably a 15-yard gain. Is it that these guys just not getting enough reps to get comfortable with the blocking assignments of this offensive line?
No, I would never make that excuse. Look, we work hard at it. I'd say every day, and again, each run is a little bit different, and a split-second decision of what you see or not see. And sometimes it's the run game takes everybody. Takes the line, controlling the line of scrimmage and being physical. The running backs reading it the right way. The tight ends and the receivers getting their blocks. It's not just one thing. It's you wish it was as simple as that, but there were certain runs out there that I thought we did a good job of hitting, and then there's certain runs that we wish we had back a little bit. Same thing with the line. Same thing with the play calls. I mean, we're all in this together. To try to fix the things we need to fix. And again, it's not just the run game. It's there's a lot of things, and hopefully you get done with the game and there's a little bit less to fix the following week. So there's quite a bit to clean up from this game, and that's what we'll do. We'll do that together.
Is there a possibility of more motion with someone like Isaiah McKenzie on a jet sweep fake and just more movement just to get a defensive line, especially a line like the Tampa Bay Bucks that have big solid guys up there. You get them moving one way and going back the other way. It could be a way to penetrate the running game.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that right now. We're been going here this morning trying to evaluate the stuff we did yesterday and things we need to correct, and we'll be on these guys here shortly.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, George.
Hi, Brian. It's Jay with the Buffalo News. I asked Sean this earlier. I'll ask you as well. Do you feel aligned right now with Sean in terms of philosophically what you want this offense to be?
Yeah, I think we have a good understanding. We're week to week. We want to be a physical offense and control the line of scrimmage. And the most important thing, Jay, is scoring points and finishing down there, whether that be a big play or in the red zone. But yeah, we have conversations daily, on things that we're doing, and we have a good working relationship, and we'll work it each and every day to try to get things fixed.
He was uncharacteristically blunt with us yesterday in terms of the offense not taking advantage of good field position, of maybe going backwards at times in the red zone. Did you sense a different tone from him in game, after game today, in terms of a frustration, a different type of a frustration level? I know every loss is frustrating, but was this one any different?
No. I mean, we went backwards on a second down sack that puts us back into the wind, which everybody's frustrated with that. And then we have a false start at the end of the game that puts us to 3rd and 14, which is, hard enough to convert, and then the 4th and 14. So again, we're all working in this thing together. We're aligned in what we want to do, and we'll keep on working at it.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate your time.
You got it.
Hey, Dabes, I know you said there's a lot to look on and fix from this one, but some good things that came out of this game as well. With the short week, what do you want to see out of your offense on Sunday as they head to take on the Super Bowl defending champions?
Yeah, I want to score more points. Again, each week is different. Situation, team you're playing against. Look, they have a really good team as we get started on them. Just a little while ago, they have excellent defensive front. They're second in the league in stopping the run. We're going to have to do a good job of taking care of the football as always, and go out there and play good complementary football.
Thanks.
You got it.
That's all we have for today. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Hey, Caleb.
Melissa, can you hear me okay?
Hey, yes, I can.
Okay, we'll get started with questions, and George Rodney will have the first question.
Okay. There we go.
Hey, well,
There we
yeah.
go, Coach. Good afternoon. I wasn't expecting to be first one on there. Thanks a lot for that. Put me right on the spot right away, Coach. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, George.
All right, George Radney, Challenger Community News. And a question, with the defense, you only gave up, the good news, the silver lining is you only gave up 14 points. It looked worse than the score, but I'm just wondering, with the linebacker situation, Matt Milano, man, I really was impressed with his ability at the line of scrimmage to make contact. And I'm wondering, is there a possibility down the road that he could be a middle linebacker and flipping Tremaine Edmonds to the outside position? Because boy, he really was hitting some guys. And also your take on Harrison Phillips as well. His play last night.
Yes. Matt, you're right. I agree with you. Matt had a terrific game last night. Played with really good violence, making tackles all over the place. Really gave us a boost, especially in that fourth quarter when we needed to get a stop in the red zone and keep them out of the end zone. And he came up with some big tackle for losses that made a difference. As far as moving him to middle linebacker, we really feel like we have him in the right spot, George, and he's doing a great job for us as an outside backer. And we really like what Tremaine gives us inside. So right now, Matt will probably remain where he is, and Tremaine will remain, where he is as our middle linebacker. And then Harrison, he had a heck of a game as well. You're right. Sometimes you look at the rushing numbers and you forget that there were some things that were good about that game, and Harrison was definitely a bright spot. He played extremely well, did a good job of getting off of blocks and making tackles for us, and we're really proud of the way that he played last night.
Yeah, and it seemed like he's really getting comfortable with it because he was beating his man a lot. It just seems like as a nose guard, when they were with a sweep, he was not able to get over for the sweep, but anything straight ahead or near him in his zone area, boy, he seemed to really be able to make a play, make first contact, and hold him up and hope the rest of the guys that help out with making a play. Do you see that as being with the defensive front being more aggressive like that, like you were last night, shooting gaps and things like that down the road against running teams like Tampa Bay with Leonard Fournette coming up?
Yeah, I mean, what Harrison did and some other guys, when we did create some negative plays, but they were run through their gaps and making those tackles made a difference. Harrison for sure stood out with his ability to be able to shed blocks and make tackles. But yeah, I mean, that's what you want to do when in a perfect world. You want to do that all the time and not allow a long run like we allowed on that one toss play.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. And the other silver lining to last night's defense, yeah, they threw the ball only 3 times, but the record was 2 times, and that was by Buffalo. I saw that game. That was the great O.J. Simpson, ran all over the Jets, and we only threw the ball 2 times and won that game. So the silver lining is you kept that record alive for the Bills, and good luck this coming Sunday.
Thank you, George.
Coach Frazier, Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports 1080. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good. How are you, Mookie?
I'm okay. I'm just soaking up a little bit of sun for y'all. Y'all come down here, this weekend. But gap integrity. Now, I think you did a good job. I can care less about the 45 times everybody want to make a big deal about that. It's football. They're going to run the ball. That's what they do. But gap integrity, Coach, me and you always talk about that. And the only time I can see that it was a blown assignment was the 63-yarder when, we got that overflow. They overran that cutback lane, and then, he was able to make a play. So once again, Coach, I ask you, how important is that gap integrity? And obviously, we know how it can hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, that play for sure stands out. Looking with you and I have talked about this before. You're right. Gap integrity is everything. And we got out of our gap. We got some guys that got cut out of their gaps, and we had some guys that overran the ball. And, we got to take good angles to the football. And that explosive just really leaves a bad taste in your mouth because, I mean, that's the one touchdown they got in the whole game. And it just, you don't want that to happen. It shouldn't happen. And we got to do better.
Absolutely. And, on the flip side of that, playing Tampa Bay, they're a team that's, they're going to mix it up. They're not going to pass just 3 times, obviously, with Tom Brady being back there coaching. One thing that I can say that's an eyesore in the defense is something that y'all primed to be some of the emphasis coming into the season was getting to the quarterback, rushing the passer. Right now, Coach, you have 21 sacks. That's like 25th in the league. How do you plan to get after a quarterback such as Tom Brady, who's not as mobile, who's going to stand there in the pocket with you, and he's going to basically test your DBs and Dane Jackson and Levi Wallace? So how do you plan to get after the quarterback?
Yeah, he's getting the ball out really fast. Mookie probably as quickly as anybody in the league right now. He's not taking any hits. I think their offensive line is one of those teams that have given up the least sacks in the league. So they're doing a good job of getting out. So we'll be challenged to be able to get him on the ground. So we'll have to get our hands up and try to get some batted balls and just try to get around him as much as we can. But he's doing a great job of getting it out, and their offensive line is doing a great job of blocking.
Absolutely, Coach. Hey, have a great week of practice, and good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, John Morrow.
Hey, John.
And here you thought you were done with Tom Brady.
Yeah, I know, man. He's giving us the blues on occasion. So he definitely presents challenges. Got him another ring, and he just continues to get better and better. It seems it's just amazing. He's done a great job down there.
I mean, obviously, the loss of Tre'Davious White, we didn't really see that impact against what the Patriots did last night. But just how do you now go about, preparing your defensive secondary against Tom Brady and the weapons he has, even though it doesn't look like it? Well, Antonio Brown's not going to be part of it.
Well, he still has a really good arsenal of receivers and one of the best tight ends in pro football, and Gronkowski. So it's going to be a challenge for sure, but we got to find a way. We got to find a way to be able to put ourselves in a position to make some plays on the back end, and we look forward to the challenge. It's a game that we need for a lot of reasons, and we got to find a way to slow that passing attack down and give us a chance to get a W.
In your experience, all your lengthy years of experience, when you in the midst of a 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win kind of like stretch like this, and the team seems to be searching for something. I mean, how do you keep things upbeat, given that you've been riding this? What you didn't want is this roller coaster run of win 1, lose 1.
Yeah, John, every season is different. As you know, you've been around a long time, and you go through some different things as you're trying to find your identity. And sometimes it takes December to really find out who you are as a team. And I think we're just about there. I think there are some things that were revealed over the last couple of weeks that will help us in the long run. And, you don't want to be win 1, lose 1. You don't want to be that. You really got to focus on that one game. And for us this week is Tampa Bay. And that's where our focus will be. And that's how you approach it. You just can't, you don't want to look back now. You really don't want to look ahead past Tampa. It's really about this one game. And if you can do that, just take them one at a time, then you have a chance to maybe put some things together. But it's all about this one game right now.
Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Sorry
Josh,
about that,
we're having
Leslie.
trouble
My
hearing
bad. Sorry about that. Thanks for taking Josh Reed here. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes this afternoon. The teams are struggling right now. A lot of, negativity kind of swirling around, at least outside the building. Kind of building off what John was asking, how confident are you that you guys have the pieces inside that locker room to make sure that everything stays together, pushes forward, and fights through this slump right now?
Yeah, Josh, this is not the first time we've experienced some adversity. It's with this team. It's a different team than some of the teams we've had in years past, but we've been able to find our way through adversity in the past. And for that reason, you hold on and believe that we'll find our way in this situation as well. I mean, it's so much more football to be played. And I know there's some doom and gloom out there, but there's a lot of ball to be played. We still, in a lot of ways, control our own destiny. We need to get it going for sure. And we're looking forward to the opportunity that we have coming up this coming Sunday. But all is not lost. There's a lot more ball to be played.
Is this the time of the season where you find out exactly who the leaders are inside that locker room, amongst the players?
We got some guys that are really been standing up for us and really leading during these challenging times, and they'll continue to stand up. They'll continue to lead, and we'll get it right. We just got to keep pushing forward and keep learning from some of these experiences that hopefully, as we continue through the month of December, we'll just get better and better through some of these experiences.
Thank you, Leslie. Good luck on Sunday. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's all we have for today. Thanks, Leslie.
Okay, you're welcome.